to talk to you about griffins, specifically griffins' ears. Now, everybody knows what a griffin is. Hang on. This, of course, yay! This, of course, is a griffin. Apparently, we have some griffins in the audience tonight. This is a griffin. Griffin started as an artistic motif in Mesopotamia thousands of years ago, but have survived pretty much unchanged through to the modern day, which is remarkable. The only real alteration in the appearance of a griffin since thousands of years ago is long about the 12th century, when the front legs, which had previously been the legs of a lion, were changed into the legs of an eagle for some unknown bureaucratic reason. But other than that, that's all there is to it. It's the same thing for thousands of years. There have been some variants, though. There have been some alternate species of griffins, such as the hippogriff, shown here in the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual, which was said to be the offspring of when a griffin copulated with a horse, which I swear to God, I did not expect to be a motif for the night, but nevertheless, here we are. Now, the term hippogriff comes from, well, the last part, griff, obviously comes from griffin, and then the first part, hippo, comes from the Greek for horse. Now, of course, to the modern ear, hippo means something else. But the reason for this is that the word hippopotamus actually comes from the Greek for river horse. This is a fact. So whoever named the hippopotamus, hundreds of thousands of years ago, thought it was basically a kind of horse. And this took. Now, I don't care what culture you come from. I don't care what basic assumptions you're working with. This is not a horse. That's stupid. The moral of this is that people in the olden days were very, very bad at looking at animals, but I digress. And Lord knows we don't want that. Griffin's ears. Now, of course, a griffin is a lion in the body and then has the wings and head of an eagle. And then throughout its history, also has these big, long, thin ears. Certain recent depictors will leave off the ears to make it look more eagle-like, but until the advent of fantasy art, it always had the ears. Now, what these ears are is kind of an open question. When they're compared to the ears of any animal, they're compared to the ears of a donkey. So we have a mythical creature made out of the king of the jungle and the king of the sky and the king of wherever it is the donkey is, I guess, presumably by itself. It doesn't make any sense. And in all of the literature about griffins over all these thousands of years, this very important issue is just sort of danced around. However, there are a few things that have been said about this. The first hypothesis is that the ears are on the griffin so that you can depict a griffin's head and tell it apart from an eagle's head. It is better to be a griffin. Now this functions, I mean this does work, but the problem is it doesn't really have any precedent or antecedent for that matter. This is not something that is generally done. They don't give the Minotaur a sombrero so you can tell its head from a bull's head. And I mean, we talked in the beginning about all of the hybrid creatures. This trick is never done for anything but the griffin, and that seems kind of unlikely. A second idea is that the ears are there to symbolize alertness, because for most of the history of the griffin has been a creature very much associated with guardianship. This goes back to the ancient Greeks, who were the first people to write about the griffin. They always said the same story for the griffins. The griffins lived out in the wilderness, where they dug up gold with their beaks, like you do, and used this gold to make their nests. Then a tribe of people called the Aramaspi would try to steal the gold from them. The only things we're told about the Aramaspi is that they tried to steal the griffin's gold, and that they had one eye. A piece, not to pass around or anything like that. Now, Now, the Greek writer Herodotus, the famous Greek writer Herodotus, the father of history, related the story of the griffins and the gold and the Armosby, and stated that he did not find it to be credible. Because, and I'm not making this up, one-eyed people aren't real. Listen, these majestic six-limbed flying lion-eagle hybrids who dig up their gold don't get it stolen by one-eyed dudes. Fake. Anyway, from the story of the griffins guarding their nests, throughout their history, griffins have been about guardianship up until recent times. In Alice in Wonderland, when Alice first comes upon the griffin is asleep, and this is actually meant to be one of the many absurdities in that absurdity-filled story. One does not come upon a griffin asleep, one does not catch a griffin lying down. That's ridiculous. So, it is a possibility that the ears are supposed to be about alertness, but again, we have a problem with what's the word I'm looking for? With precedent and antecedent. I mean, somebody invented the griffin, and so it was, guys, I've invented this awesome lion eagle creature. I need it to be vigilant, I need it to be alert, I need it to be watchful. How do I communicate that? Aha! This is not a thing. A more recent idea of the origin of the griffin's ears is a little bit strange, but stay with me on this. It has been proposed that the whole griffin idea was inspired by ancient people accidentally coming upon fossils of the dinosaur PROTOCERATOPS. PROTOCERATOPS, yeah! Give it up! Thank you. Now, of course, our ancient paleontologists did not come upon this, but rather this, and not mounted, but they then had the task of describing this in terms of animals in their environment, which, as we learned earlier, they were terrible at. Still, for all of this, they didn't do too bad. I mean, you have the big hooked beak. You have a body that's about lion size. It's about 6 or 7 feet long. It's got medium-length legs with claws on the end. It's got a long tail. Most of the larger animals in their environment did not have long tails, but the lion was one of them. And then, of course, however, you also had that thing at the back of the head. Now, we know what this is. This is a frill, and it has a frill because it's a dinosaur, and when dinosaurs evolve individually, they do so by making the awesome choice. But they did not know this at this time. So what is that? It's not horns. They know what horns look like. And it's off the back of the head, and it's rounded, and it's got holes in it. Ears, I guess? I mean, it's not a bad guess for people who don't understand about skeletal anatomy and think that hippos are horses. What this does not cover, of course, is the wings, but the wings are kind of suggested by the bird head, and more to the point, the wings were put on there by the Mesopotamians, who would put wings on anything. This is one example. This is a Shidu. This is another guardian creature. This is a bull with the head of a human and some wings. Why not? Let's go for it. Now, this is not, the Protoceratops griffin thing, of course, is not a lot. I mean, for one thing, the frill does not exactly resemble donkey ears specifically. But, and then of course, another problem with it is that it's almost unnecessary to actually explain the griffin because the lion-eagle hybrid is a good idea. The reason it's survived for so long is that it's sort of compelling in and of itself. It's the kind of thing that you would make up without having to find a skeleton. And then, of course, the whole thing is speculative. Anyway, there's no direct evidence that anyone ever found Protoceratops skeletons back in the day. There's more to the Protoceratops skeleton griffin thing. There's stuff about gold and the nature of Protoceratops fossils. But unfortunately, my 80 minutes are up. My next talk will be on jackalope antlers. Thank you very much.
Allison, before we begin, one of my dreams for this show is that we have several presentations with slides And tonight it's happening.
It's happening.
Just unbelievable.
All of our dreams are coming true.
Yeah, I would
right?
say so.
We dream really big if we look around.
Let's turn to our potential dream crusher, Brian Bailey.
I think Reverend Matt's presentation took the edutainment to the nerdutainment level. I counted 7 facts, which are that hippopotami are horribly named, but that leads us to the lie. Old-time people were not bad at looking at things. They were bad at naming what they saw. On a side note, I don't appreciate donkey insults. I also don't appreciate insults of the Mesopotamian culture. Other facts. That Reverend Matt's stoned griffin drawing is better than his stoned eagle drawing. Another fact, the Armasani did not share a single eye and pass it around. Another fact, griffins have throughout since the time of mythology, been known to guard things. A fact that I don't really appreciate because I had to look up PROTOCERATOPS on my iPad and had to type it in on that little keyboard and I couldn't spell it. This might not qualify as a lie. I believe that Reverend Matt, as we might expect from a reverend, misrepresented dinosaur evolution.
That was just well done. It was just well executed. Okay.
I have tingles.
Okay.
Yay.
Ooh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 Oh my gosh. Yes.
Oh!